Hi guys, welcome to the Listen While I Ramble podcast. It's our first ever episode this week, and we are going to be discussing chef secrets, as myself being a chef, and I've worked in the front of houses also, but why I decided to leave the industry, and a few personal gripes I have with the catering hospitality industry in general. But before I do start, I just want to make it extremely clear, I'm not making this podcast episode just to slag off and berate people I've worked with, the places I've worked. I just want to explain a few trade secrets and my personal experiences in the places I've worked and my personal experiences in general of just the hospitality and catering industry. So please sit back and enjoy the episode. So the first thing I do want to say is, if you want to become a chef and it's a great career to really go for. If you're passionate about food and you're passionate about, or creating something like I was, it is a brilliant career to go down. Brilliant prospects, great career progression. But I think what I didn't know at the start, there's a lot of things you don't really know. And I just want to make, this isn't me trying to dissuade you from becoming a chef, because if I can help someone actually become a chef, that would be lovely, because being a chef is actually a really, it's a great job to have. I loved being a chef. I loved being creative. I loved, creating menus and stuff like that. It is really fun. Because if you're like me, I really like to, just creating stuff, and that's why I decided to do a podcast. I was really passionate about creating and, being, just creating in general. So it is a absolutely great career to have. You just got to be prepared for different things. Because bear in mind, if you're young, you will be just a lapdog. What you don't really think of really. You'll just be pretty much your head chef and sous chef's bitch. What is completely fine. And because people will say just by me talking about this, I'll be like a snowflake and, a little bitch. But to be honest with you, you don't really understand until you've done it, like being a chef. And I didn't understand it before I was a full-time chef. You do get thrown in at the deep end. But honestly, it is a really, really good career to have. But you've just got to think of a few things. So I'm just going to list through them now. Waiters can be your best friend and your worst enemy. Just for example, if a waiter, waiters get problems from the customers, and then usually the time they'll take it out on you, because it's either they've made a mistake, and don't get me wrong, some waiters I've worked with will just drop you in the complete and utter shit, and they'll just drop, they'll put you right in it. But bear in mind, it can also be your mistake, and then it's completely, you deserve to get ripped apart. And don't get me wrong, I've been ripped apart. I think everyone makes a mistake at the beginning, and even just as you go on, you're going to make mistakes. And I've made loads of mistakes. You just got to be prepared to for confrontation. You don't get when I went to catering college for two years. You don't really get taught about the confrontation within kitchens and the front of house teams, because I don't know if it's just the places I've worked, but there is a certain divide between the front of house and the back of house. You can all be friends outside of work, but when you're actually working, it is two separate teams, and it really shouldn't be. And I think when you look at all these, for example, Hell's Kitchen on TV, it's not the most realistic show, but you can see that's how a front of house and a back of house team work. They work in unison. I've worked in places where it has worked in unison and where it's not in unison. So it's a bit of a sticky situation. You've just got to realise before you fully choose, be prepared for confrontation between waiters, managers, and other chefs. Because when I first started, I was chefs. I mean, some chefs are fucking arseholes. Honestly, they really are. And don't get me wrong, as you be around them more, you do become an arsehole. That might just be the place I've worked though. So take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt. But you just gotta, there's certain things you're not expecting when you first start. One thing I will say is that if you're like quite young, and you're in like a bit of a position of power, and you're working with people who are significantly older than you, I had this. Honestly, sometimes you do just get treated like an absolute arsehole by them, because obviously you're really young. So if it's hard telling someone who's, like 15 to 20 years older than you, even 10 years older than you, actually what to do, because they probably feel like it is you've got their position. Well, so, fair enough, they've probably worked their way, but that's something I wasn't prepared for. I just felt like that really should be mentioned here, because that was when you get a promotion, you keep going up, promotion. You don't really think about all the added stuff, like for example, when you get promoted, like chef de partie, you go up a few more ranks, you'll eventually get to sous chef, and then you're number 2 to people. You're not the sous chef, in my opinion. So head chef is like the head chef. He's number 1. He deals with all the shit from the people above him, the managers, and basically everyone above him. The sous chef is a bit more part of the team. Every place I've worked, it is a bit more of a team, and I'll tell you why I personally think the sous chef's more of a team. It depends on who the person is, because you can get a arsehole as a head chef and like a brilliant sous chef who you just like love. And that goes for, and this can go for like any place you work. Most of the time the managers are complete arseholes. And sometimes you get really good managers. I've had brilliant managers. Like the places I've worked, like when I was young, I've only had ever one absolutely shit job. All the other jobs have been absolutely brilliant. Brilliant managers, decent teams. Don't get me wrong, there's always going to be someone you don't like at work. There's always going to be that someone. But it is honest, it goes for everywhere. You're not going to like everyone. And sometimes the people you don't like will make your job a complete hellhole. I've had that multiple times. And that's one of the actual reasons I did decide to leave in the end. You can't account for other people. Back to what I was actually saying about sous chefs. Sous chefs are like still part of a team, in my opinion. I just feel like when you're a sous chef, you're still part of the kitchen squad. Everyone's part of the kitchen squad, but I think this just might be my own personal experiences. You're still part of the team as a number 2, and you're kind of still like loved by everyone. But as soon as this goes for anyway, if you're becoming a manager, like in any job, there will still be, that little bit of a divide for people. People will start, looking at you differently because you're in a higher position, so they've got to act differently around you. Because you're their boss now, so that's one thing I never accounted for, and so that's my personal opinion on why, if I was ever going to be a chef again, I would want to be a sous chef. I wouldn't want to be a head chef anymore. And don't get me wrong, head chefs have way too much, there's a lot of crap and shit they deal with that the kitchen staff and team and the front of house team will never get to see. So that's, something to be, it's not expected. So you got what I've learned from being a chef, not just like the chef skills, obviously in like how to cook and all of this stuff. It's more about the people skills you need, because for different people you need to talk to them differently. And sous chef, this applies for sous chefs, just in life really. Also, you need to learn how to talk to people in a way that's not too aggressive. Like, don't get me wrong, in a kitchen it's a hot, busy, stressful environment. Like I personally have anger issues, and I've been working through them. So that probably wasn't the best industry for me to go into, because I do have a very, very short fuse. And people they piss me off. I get extremely, ask some of the people I've worked with. Oh my God, I've ripped people to shreds. Sometimes it's friendly banter. And what's all fun, When it's friendly banter, it's brilliant. But sometimes you do go too far. You'll proper rip into them. I've done it. I've been ripped into the exact same. You'll literally just have a shouting match. Sometimes you'll literally stop working and just argue with someone. And it's not the best working environment, to be honest. Like, service is known to be stressful, and I think people who aren't chefs don't really realise it. So, like, one of my personal gripes with the whole, like, catering industry is it's looked down upon a little bit, because people who haven't never worked in the catering industry don't actually kind of realise how hard it is. And like the geezers, I can do that job, it's a piece of piss. That you couldn't. Like, you really couldn't. They have no idea what they're talking about. They would cry and go home. Like, I'm not a chef anymore because of the pressures of being a chef, and obviously, like I said earlier, the people around it make my job a hellhole. And I just couldn't do it anymore. I decided it's not for me. But that is something that really, really, and always will piss me off. People who say, I can do your job in my sleep. The simple answer is, no, you couldn't. There's a massive difference between being a home cook, and like a good home cook, to being an extremely talented chef who can handle the pressure of being a chef. And it's more than okay to say you can't handle the pressure of being a chef. I couldn't, personally. It was too much of stress just on my mental health. And I was fucked for quite a while. But I'm going to go into that later, because that's more going into why I decided to leave and what I'm doing now. But honestly, you've got to, just be prepared for waiters being an arsehole, chefs being an arsehole, you having confrontations with other people. Something I never really, when you watch Hell's Kitchen and all these shows, MasterChef. Honestly, MasterChef Canada does a challenge where they go into, all MasterChefs really, but MasterChef Canada does a brilliant way of actually showing service in actually how it is. And a lot of home cooks do crumble. It's a proper service for real people. Go on YouTube, search it up. Brilliant chefs, restaurants they're going into, and a lot of them can't hack it, and a few of them can. And it does take a real talent to deal with the pressures of actually being a chef. Because you can be a talented cook, and know how to cook, know about your nutrition, and, just be a really good home cook. But being a chef it's a different animal to being a home cook. I didn't ever expect to, struggle with pressures. I've done a lot of things in my life, and I've had a lot of pressure on me. And being a chef was probably the worst thing I've ever done for my own personal mental health. It's very long hours, and you're always on your feet. What's to be expected? But I mean, it is honestly crazy sometimes. It depends on where you're working. If you're working in like if you're working in like a hugely busy restaurant / gastro pub, it's manic. It's manic all the time. If you're working in a cafe, a bit more chill, and the food standard isn't as high, it's easier. And that is what we're going into next, like the actual chef secrets about food, because I've gone on about people for far too long. So let's move on to food and food secrets. This is quite a well-known one, but some people I'll say it to, just like my friends and family, and they're like absolutely shocked by this. When I will never order a soup of the day, because if you've worked as a chef, soup of the day is never soup of the day. It's just soup of the week. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to taste bad, but it's just something I wouldn't personally do, because I know it's just like hotted up soup again, like days and days and days old. And it's just something I personally wouldn't do, but a lot of people are like completely and utterly shocked when I say soup of the day is never a soup of the day, it's always a soup of the week. It actually blows my mind a little bit, because I thought this was just common knowledge, but apparently not. But one thing I do want to say, moving on from soup of the day, it is food standards and food quality varies so much, because when you look at a menu, most menus always sound absolutely, like the best quality stuff, always top notch. It's the best gear you can buy, pretty much. And honestly, some restaurants order complete and utter shit. Like, you wouldn't believe. Like, I've been to loads of different restaurants. Before I even started working full time, I did loads of work experience. You can't believe the amount of frozen food that gets ordered in when it's claiming to be fresh. It honestly, it blew my mind how much, like, restaurants order frozen in food. Like, you have to expect a little bit of frozen here and there, but honestly, it throws you off and blows your mind how much frozen food is actually in the industry. Because it's not something, when you go to catering college, everything's fresh. You learn how like knife skill. You learn everything you can possibly want to learn, and then you get chucked into the industry, and it's frozen food. And that, for me, that threw me off massively. It's just like, it's more of a fact that when you look for, like, the general customer, it says on the menu it's completely fresh. They're lying, and I'm pretty sure that's actually against the law, because it's claiming to be something it's not. And, like, don't get me, I'm not going to go into the calorie thing, because the calorie thing's always wrong. Because obviously now by law you have to put calories on your menu and stuff. Honestly, the calories are always wrong. Never believe the calories. Just, like, it's absolutely stupid. Like, you can't have a full portion of fries and a massive cheeseburger and expect it to be like 500 calories with, like, the added stuff inside, because everything inside obviously adds on to the calories. It's just like, they don't count. I'm pretty sure, I know one place I worked don't count the sauce in the calorie counter to make it look lower. Like, it's just, you literally cannot do that. It's against the law. You're breaking, you're misleading the customer into something, and that, I've had, when you write a menu, you have to do that. And I got told to do that at one of the places I've worked. It's not, and I didn't want to do it, so I didn't do it. And that place was honestly shocking. It was honestly the worst experience of a job I've ever had, and it's the reason I left my previous job, my last job I had before I started to do what I'm doing now. It fucked me for ages. And, like, now, for example, I'm going to go into it later, but I go to therapy weekly just to sort out my general anxiety and my anger issues. Like, I've always had anger issues, but I mean, like, it got so bad I was, like, just angry at the world because of that place. But we're going to go into that later. So what I'm going to talk about now is food labelling. Like, I think, like, food labelling in kitchens is basically when you make something. So let's do an example. Just we just do a simple one, like fucking toast. Like, you'd be surprised, a lot of restaurants will not chuck away the toast. Like, for example, Melba toast. We'll do Melba toast instead of just plain old boring toast. Melba toast. We'll do Melba toast. It goes really well with like a mackerel pate and stuff like that. So Melba toast, for example, that'll last for quite a while. One place I worked, we did Melba toast for 5 days. And I mean, like, it was pretty, in my opinion, it tasted pretty bad. But, that's what food labelling is. Like, people will change the labels and say, like, it'll smell alright. But just to go into a bit more detail, because I've just gone on about bloody toast for like a minute. Food labelling, when you make something, you put the time and date it was made and the expiry date, and it should correspond with the time you also made it. And obviously, different foods, like meat has different labelling procedures. Chilled foods, frozen foods, so on and so forth. And like I explained with toast, one place did it for 5 days, where I would only do it for 2 because it would, in my opinion, it would just taste a bit off. But yeah, like I've gone into different places. The best place I've worked at, the previous job I worked at, was brilliant. The labelling was brilliant, and my first job was absolutely brilliant. And best place you can work if you wanted to be a chef. Honestly, absolutely brilliant. Everything was done fresh. It was honestly just brilliant. I can't give it enough praise. The manager was brilliant. If you do listen to this, I love you. You've honestly helped me out so much. Since I was 16, I think, I first met you. Honestly, brilliant guy. I'm not going to mention his restaurants and pubs in this, but you know who I'm talking about. All my friends know who I'm talking about. His pubs are honestly brilliant. But yeah, his food labelling was absolutely great. But I'm going to go on to personal experiences now. And this I've had one job. Well, like I did say earlier, it fucks me completely. That everything was bad. I mean, everything was bad. Food labelling was bad, food standards, soup we just ordered in. It was actually the best soup you could probably order in. It was actually really tasty soup. But honestly, food labelling was absolutely shit. I mean, it was just 2 days for everything. I mean, it was just like appalling. And then don't even get me started on this kitchen, like health and safety. I mean, everyone I know who works there, and I think a lot of people still do work there. I mean, it was just a joke. Like, I remember this is probably the worst thing ever happened to me. I was working, just out of the blue, loads of water started to come up through like the floor, because obviously there's like drainage, for when you're mopping and stuff like that. But I mean, it just started coming up, and it was like flooded the kitchen. And this happened multiple times, and there's loads of experiences. And the manager told me, work in it or you get sacked. Like, how that is just complete and utter shit. How can you? You're in a health and safety environment. You're working in a kitchen with live electrics. Well, you always low to, and I mean, like, it was about my calf level, my lower bit of my calf. Like, you was literally walking in a massive puddle. Not even a puddle, more like a pond, like a really, not like a medium shallow pond. It was just ridiculous. This happened multiple times, and like, that was just normal, like, water, like cleanish water. Well, it wasn't clean, but it was like cleaner than the other time. Like, the worst thing was the actual like sewage came up through this fucking drain, and we had to work in it. It was absolute travesty, honestly. You'd never, when you expect to work in a kitchen, like, I couldn't serve. How can you serve food when there's literally sewage on the floor and they want you to work in it? Like, honestly, it was a fucking joke. Like, the amount of gas leaks as well we had. Like, fucking, the electrics are always fucked. Like, they didn't want to spend any money on the kitchen. And, like, fair enough if you don't. Like, obviously you have a annual budget what you can spend. But I mean, when there's so much shit going wrong in this place, I'm not going to mention it for legal reasons, but honestly, there's so much shit you can say. Like, the sewage on the floor happened multiple times, multiple gas leaks, water just coming through the fucking drain and want you to work in it. Like, we worked without, it sounds stupid, and you can get away with it, but when you're in a super busy environment like it was, especially in summer, we didn't have a dishwasher for like 2 months. And this happened multiple times. And, can't lie, some of the fucking waiters who worked there were fucking useless. And don't get me wrong, they probably hated me. Because I was an arsehole. I was an arsehole to them, and they was an arsehole to me. But I mean, they were fucking useless. It took them like 20 minutes to wash one fucking plate. It was honestly a joke. We never had plates. We never had anything we really needed. Everything was fucked. It was honestly the most fucked atmosphere to work in. Like, the kitchen team were actually relatively all quite close. Don't get me wrong, there's always going to be arguments. But, fuck me, it was an absolute fucking joke. The amount of shit that went wrong in this place. Like, fucking, the amount of fucking times the water came through that drain and flooded the whole kitchen. They just went, put towels down. Towels down when it's literally covering my whole foot and going to my calf. What's a towel gonna fucking do? It's gonna do fuck all. They want you to carry on working. Like, it's just honestly ridiculous. There was shit everywhere. Like, the fucking fryer. Don't even get me started on that fryer. That was like danger hazard 101. Like, health and safety was so shit. It kind of blows me away how they passed audits. Like, I did audits in that place, and you would fail. Like, there's no way, you can't tell me you would pass an audit when there's fucking, the drain is literally putting sewage into the kitchen, and it's like visible, it stinks, everything stinks, and they want you to work in it. Like, honestly, it was just, that's probably the worst experience I've ever had working. But that sewage one, honestly, a joke. Joke. And I mean, I hated that job. Like, I liked the people there. But honestly, the fucking health and safety in that place was so shit. Flooded the fucking floor. Multiple times. I think it probably would have flooded about 10 times. Probably more. Do you know, now that I'm thinking about it? It was honestly a shit show. It was just a complete and utter shit show. Like, it was just joke. Honestly, a joke. Carry on working. Like, if it's like a little bit of water, you just mop it up, don't you? But when it's fucking the whole kitchen and you're literally walking in water and you have to serve food in it, like, it's not an acceptable working environment. And no one would listen to me. No one would listen. Obviously, the chefs and the waiters there would also be like, this is a fucking joke. We would laugh. We would actually laugh at how shit that place was. And like, with everything. Like, the amount of shit that could go wrong went wrong. Like, the fucking coffee machine never worked. For like the front of house. Honestly, it was just a fucking... because I've been a barista before. They always sent me out to fucking try and fix it. Like, I'm not a fucking... I know how to make coffees from coffee machines. I have no idea how to fucking put one together and fix one. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm not a fucking... what are they called? Mechanic? I have no idea what to fucking build one and put one together and fix it. An electrician? I have no idea. And I've got to go fix it. I'm like, no, because they wouldn't hire one. I think now they've got new fucking coffee machines. Thank God. Hopefully they'll get a new fucking kitchen. I doubt it, because they won't spend the fucking money. I know I've gone on and got quite angry about it, but honestly, it really... Because at this point, I was really passionate about cooking and especially nutrition. Like, nutrition played a big role in the job I'm doing now. But honestly, it was just a joke. You got mistreated. It was just an absolute shithole. And all my other jobs have been brilliant, like absolutely brilliant. The people there, brilliant. Managers, brilliant. Just lovely people to work with. Don't get me wrong, the place the shit job had lovely people as well. But because the job was so shit, everyone started to hate the fucking job. And then, you know, when you hate the job, when you're not happy working, you're just a general arsehole to everyone. I hated the job so much, I would just have a go at anyone. At that point, I used to complain so much, I got told if you complain anymore, you will lose your job. Like, how's that acceptable? It's just, like, what? You're complaining about working conditions, that they're so bad, you'll lose your job. Like, yeah, that's more, you know, and that really messed my mental health up. It was just a joke. I'm not going to talk about it anymore because I think I've covered, like, it was honestly, my personal experience there was an absolute joke, and I feel sorry for people who still work there, to be honest with you. But yeah, now we're going on to about why I decided to leave the catering industry and not just move on to another chef job. I decided to leave mainly because my mental health. The shit job fucked me. It's fucked me being a chef, and just anything in the catering industry for life now. I don't think I could do it anymore. because it was such a bad experience. I was angry. I had borderline depression. I still go to therapy every 2 weeks, and my therapist is absolutely brilliant. He's helped me through so much. My anger, my anxiety, my bored. I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I was getting there. I didn't feel like myself anymore. I was angry at the world in general. It's just absolute, it was a horrible time. And it was because I was like, I got a new job after this shit job, and it was a good job, really good job, but I just couldn't hack it anymore. I couldn't handle it. When you're a chef, you expect to work extremely long hours. And I've always been a grafter. I'll always do overtime. I'll always get I wanted to get as much money as possible, to be honest. I want to secure myself, secure my future, as everyone should. I'm not a lazy guy. I want to just, get loads of money and live comfortably and be happy. But I wasn't happy being a chef. I realise that now. At the time, I was like, right, well, this is my job. I've gone to college. If I decide to do anything else, I've wasted years and years and years of my life. Well, just isn't true. You're not trapped. I felt trapped. That's the best example to give. When you feel trapped, honestly, it's the worst feeling, because I felt like I could do nothing else with my life. Because I didn't, I wasn't particularly. I'm not the smartest kid in the world. I'm just very resilient. I can get on with things. I do things because it needs to be done. And now I have a successful, organic clothing line that's really going very well for me. I've started my podcast as a hobby. I'm a PT and a nutritionist now. Something I never expected to. I've always loved sport. I've loved football my whole life. I love basketball. I love any sport, any physical activity. I adore running now. I love running, like Nick Bear, Mo Farah. All these athletes. I try and take traits from them because they're just role models to me now. Long distance running for me clears my head probably more than anything. It gives you time to imagine. Think. I thought of doing a podcast whilst long distance running, to be honest with you. It gives me an opportunity to express myself in a way I couldn't as a chef. Being a chef, you can't express yourself. You're the guy, you're just a workhorse. That's what you are, really. Don't get me wrong, you can express yourself with plating and certain designs and menu creation. But you're not, that wasn't me. And now I realise that. I should have never really gone down the chef route. I don't regret being a chef at all, because without being a chef, I wouldn't have earned the money I could to buy a course to become a PT. I'm now a level 4 personal trainer, qualified nutritionist. It's something I couldn't be where I am today without being a chef. I don't regret being a chef. I wish I was just more prepared of being it, I don't look back with any hate. I told my therapist this. I don't look back with any regret whatsoever. I love what I'm doing now. Like I said, I do really, really love what I'm doing now. I wake up, I'm happy. I haven't felt in ages. I never felt happy while I was a chef. Getting up early, leaving super late. It just wasn't me. Now I'm happy. That's the thing. If you're not happy and you're in a job that you hate, like I was, you just get out of there. Fuck for money. I was so adamant, because when you're working long hours, you're on good pay. You're getting more money than most people do because you're working more, and you're getting paid more. It's just how life works, isn't it? If you're working more hours and you're on good money, you're just going to get loads of money. But honestly, you just got to fuck for money off. If you're not happy, I learnt this the hard way. Money isn't everything. Money is not everything. Do what makes you happy. I say this to my therapist whenever we talk. I'm happy now. I wasn't happy then. If you're not happy, your life is not going to be as fulfilled as it should be. If, people will be there for you. Like, I got told by people, oh, you don't want to leave being a chef. It's good money. It's stable. It's a career. And now look at it. COVID has fucked the catering industry. Like, I feel sorry for the people who I know are still chefs. I know loads of people are going to, on April 12th, everyone's going to go to these pubs and get absolutely smashed and get food. But a lot of pubs haven't made it, and a lot of people are going to be looking for new jobs. And if you're not happy being a chef, or just not happy in general, just bung it off. Fuck it off. Just be who you want to be. Like, I was like, do you know what? I'm done. I want to be a personal trainer and a nutritionist. I've always been interested in nutrition, and that's the thing I know the most about. I work out twice a day. I love running. I'm not such a big fan of lifting weights, to be honest. I find it incredibly boring. It's not enough mental struggle for me. I need to really have that mental struggle to push on. That might just be not pushing myself enough while lifting weights, but I don't like it. But just do whatever you want to do at the end. That's all. That's the point I'm trying to make. That's the main reason I decided to make this podcast. If your mental health is fucked by your job, just leave. And it's difficult now because of COVID, and you do have to play that in mind. With COVID, you've got to be a bit more, because a lot of things aren't happening. So you just got to think. You've got to, don't just fuck it off and then have nothing prepared. Have at least something prepared, so you're not going to be left in the dark with no fucking money. If it's just slowly start things. If you're in a bit more of a position of power, go down to a lesser position. Do some less hours. Slowly work your way out. So at least you're getting some money, and while you're looking. I did the exact opposite. I just went, you know what? I'm out. I'm done, and I left. And I did a week of just nothing really. Then on my birthday, my 21st birthday, I decided, let's just do an online course, figure out what I actually want to do. And I decided, I've already got a bit of qualification in nutrition, so let's just become a PT, I love training, let's become a personal trainer and help people. Because I've always wanted to help people in some sort of way. And that's kind of what I want to do a podcast with. If I can help someone just through me talking and explaining my personal experiences and what I think on certain topics as well. I think next week's podcast will be about sport, football, and great athletes in football. And their mentality and their fitness regimes and just that in general, just sport in general, focusing on football athletes. That's if I can get someone motivated to train and change their life. I listen to podcasts, and that's what helped me realise what I was doing was absolute rubbish, and I'm never going to be a chef again. I don't want to be a chef again. I don't hate anyone for being a chef. You just got to realise it. Sometimes your job, what you want at the beginning, might not be the best for you in the long run. But anyway, that's pretty much all I want to say in this podcast episode. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know on my Instagram what questions, because next week's episode for 15 minutes, the last segment of the podcast, I'm going to answer your questions on topics of anything you ask, really. 15 minutes, that'll be from every episode from next week. Okay? So, looking forward to seeing your questions. My Instagram is Bailey_airs_. Just DM me on there, and I'll answer your questions next Wednesday on the next podcast. Thank you guys. Speak to you soon.